Okay, so for this question, um, it asks which equation gives C in terms of D, E, and F. So you basically just have to get C by itself. Well, there's a couple of ways to solve this. First off, this is actually just a general equation, so you could actually just memorize this, but I'm going to actually explain how to actually solve this. So, the first thing you do is multiply both sides by C. So multiply this side by C, and then multiply all of this by C. So C times 1 over C gets you 1 equals um 1 over D plus 1 over E plus 1 over F times C. So then you just have to divide both sides by this parentheses. So 1 over D plus 1 over E plus 1 over F equals C. So what we did is just that we multiplied both sides by C. We got 1 equals whatever this original equation was times C. And then now we just divided both sides by this. So that gets us C by itself. And then so now if you want to add, I think I covered this last class on the last question, but if you want to add two different, um, if you want to add fractions, you have to have the same denominator for all of them. So to get the same denominator, you'd have to have DEF. And so to do that, you just multiply by each other. So basically, 1 over D would become DEF. This would become EF. Basically, what we did is we took 1 over D and we multiplied it by E over E, which gets us this part here. And then we also multiplied it by F over F. So that gets us EF over DEF. And then plus, and then we do the same thing for this. So that would be DF over DEF. And then for the last one, we would also get DE over DEF. Um, we can now add them all together. So there's still a 1 over. And then once we add all these together, we get EF plus DF plus DE over DEF. And then we still have the 1 over from here. So we have 1 over all that equals C. And then for 1 over, we'll just have to multiply by the reciprocal. So let me scroll down. So we just have to basically reverse these equations. So that would be D E F over E F plus D F plus D E equals C. Or our answer choice D is the correct answer. Any questions? An alternative way to solve this is to just set some arbitrary values for D, E, and F. Let's just say that like D is 2, E is 3, and F is 4, and then just figure out what that would make C equal, and then just plug the same thing into all the answer choices and see if it would also equal the same thing. That's another way you could do it, but that method is longer, but it is a method you can use if you maybe mess up on this method. Okay, question 15. Okay, so for question 15, it says the cost of renting a bicycle is $8 for the first hour. So that means C of 1 equals 8, because that means for the first hour, the total cost would be $8. And then it says plus $4 for each additional hour. So C of 2 would be 8 plus 4, so that would be 12, basically. So we can just look at which one of these equations would match that. So if we know that the cost of renting a bike is $8 for the first hour and $4 for each additional hour, well, that means that the slope would always be 4. So it can't be A or B because the slope is 8. This would mean that for every hour you add 8 more. So it has to either be C or D. And then we know that C of 1 is equal to 8. So we just plug in and we get 4 plus 8, that would be 12. So C of 1 would be 12. So this it can't be answer choice C. So the correct answer is answer choice D. Because if we plug in C of 1, where H is equal to 1, we get 4 plus 4, which is 8, which is what we want to get. So the correct answer is D. Okay, question 16. Okay,
There's
so someone said that they thought the answer was C. Okay, so basically, it says the cost of renting a bike is $8 for the first hour, plus $4 for each additional hour, right? So if the cost of renting the bike is $8 for the first hour, that means if H is equal to 1, if hours is equal to 1, you have to get a cost of 8. That is a given. So you can just plug that into all of these equations and see which one gets you 8. So if you plug in 1 here, this would get you 4. If you plug in 1 here, this would get you 20. If you plug in 1 here, this would get you 12. And if you plug in 1 here, this would get you 8. So the correct answer is D based on that. Because basically you have to get $8 for the first hour. Now, if it said something like the cost of renting a bike is a flat charge of $8 plus $4 for each additional hour, then it would be answer choice C. But this doesn't say you have to add $8 to whatever um however many hours you have. This basically says that in total it's $8 for the first hour. Okay, back to question 16. Okay, so for question 16, it says what value of r is the solution to a given equation? So we have 5r equals, well, we can just multiply this out. So that's 3r plus 3. Subtract 3r from both sides, and we get 2r equals 3. Divide the both sides by 2, and we get r equals 3 over 2, or 1.5. So you can put either of these as the correct answer. Uh, I didn't even circle that properly. But you can put either of these as the correct answer. They're both the same thing. Question 17. Okay, so for this one, what is the positive solution to the given equation? Well, first, let's turn this into an actual quadratic equation. So 3x in parentheses squared would be 3 squared, which is 9x squared. 9x squared minus 4 times 3 is 12x minus 12 is equal to 0. Now we just have to solve out this quadratic. You could just use the quadratic formula, but I'm going to solve this out arithmetically. So that would mean, so first we can factor out 3. So that would be 3, and then we would have 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. So that's factor 3, and then I have to find the least common multiple, which would be 3, and then 3x squared plus 2x minus 6x minus 4. So basically just did plus 2x and minus 6x, which is the same thing as minus 4x. And then that would be 3. And then, well, we can factor out x from this part. So that would just be x times 3x plus 2. Um, minus, and then for this part, we can factor out 2. So that would be 2 times 3x my plus 2? Yes, because this negative 2 times 3x would be negative 6x, and negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. So now that we have that, our factors would be 3 times 3x plus 2, and then the other factor would be x minus 2. So these are two factors, and it asks what is the positive solution to the given equation? Well, that would be x equals positive 2. The correct answer is x equals positive 2. Okay, question 18. Okay, so for question 18, it says that line K is shown, line J is perpendicular to line K, so parallel would mean that they have the same slope. Perpendicular means they have basically, I guess, opposite slopes. So let's just say that's like line J. So that's what is the slope of line J? I mean, this is definitely not accurate. Don't disregard that. But for this, we would just have to take the slope of line K, which would be right. Let me first erase this, which would be right 5, and we go down 2, so the slope would be 2 over 5, and it's negative. So the slope for line K is negative 2/5. And so if a line is perpendicular, what is the slope of line J? Well, for perpendicular, you just swap the bottom and top of the fraction, and you'd also swap positive and negative. So the slope of line J would be positive 5 over 2, and that would be the correct answer. So the slope of line J is positive 5 over 2. Okay, question 19. Okay, so for question 19, it says in the xy plane, the graph of y equals this equation, has a y-intercept of 0, 2. What is the value of k? Well, if we're given a value for x and y, we could just plug in. So x is 0 and y is 2, so we have 2 equals negative 14 times, well, if x is 0, anything to the 0th power is just 1 plus k. So 2 equals negative 14 plus k. Uh, add 14 to both sides, and you get k is equal to 16. That is our correct answer. Then question 20. Okay, so for question 20, it says the perimeter of a square inscribed in a circle is 30 inches. So, first we need to draw a circle, and then we need to draw a square inside it. This is just to help visualize it. This is a terrible square, but whatever. And then it says the perimeter is 30 inches, so the side length of the square would be 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5. So each of these side lengths of this square is 7.5, 7.5. And so we're asked to find the value of x and we're given a radius. So this is just Pythagorean theorem. So one thing we could do is find the value of this first, but that's going to be a bit more complicated. Instead, let's just find the radius. So this would be like this, where we take half of 7.5, because that would be the midpoint of the circle, and then we take half of the 7.5 here. So that would get us a triangle of size 3.75, 3.75. That is so 3.75, and then side length of 3.75, and then the radius of the circle is x root 2, so this would be x root 2, and we know that these are the same lengths, and this is a right triangle. So one thing that we know from our triangle rules is that for an isosceles right triangle, we know that the side lengths um, are always going to be a certain value, and the hypotenuse is always going to be that value times root 2. So that's just the general rule for these type of triangles. And so based on that information, we can say that x is equal to 3.75. So the correct answer is 3.75. Any questions? Okay, we're going to move on to the calculator section now. You are allowed to use a calculator for this section. I'm going to start with question 1. Okay, so for question 1, we have k of x is equal to 260x. It says the function gives the total amount they earn after working x weeks. What is the total amount earned after working 10 weeks? So x is 10, so 260 times 10. That's equal to 2,600. So the correct answer is answer A. Okay, question 2. Okay, so for question two, we have f of x is equal to x plus 4. What is the value of f of x when x is equal to 5? 5 plus 4, that's 9. So the correct answer is A. Okay, question three. Okay, so for question three, what is the equation of the graph shown? Well, we know that it has a positive slope, so it can't be A or B. And we know that the y-intercept is -1, so the correct answer is answer choice C. And question four. Okay, so for question four, what is the minimum number of books in the book drop recorded during this time? Well, that is basically asking what is the minimum on this graph, which is right here, which is at 1. So the correct answer is answer choice D. Okay, question five. Okay, so for question five, what is the positive solution to a given equation? We have m squared and square root equals 34 squared square root. The correct answer is 64. And because this is just the same thing, you just replace m with 64 and you get the same equation. Question six. Okay, so for question 6, we just plug in based on the values they've given. So negative 4, 0, negative 4, 0, no. Negative 4, 0, that could work. Negative 4, 0, that could work. Negative 4, 0, this is also not correct. And then negative 1, 3, so negative 1, 3, that could work. Negative 1, 3, that couldn't work. So the correct answer is choice B. Question 7. Okay, so for question 7, for x equals 4, which of the following is closest to the y value predicted by the line of best fit? X equals 4, go up, right here, go left, 10. So the correct answer is A. Okay, question 8. Okay, so for question 8, we have a total of 8, and it says 2 are freckles, 6 do not. So if one of the 8 is selected at random, what's the probability of selecting one that has freckles? So that's just 2 have freckles out of a total of 8. So 2 out of 8 is equal to 0.25. So the correct answer is A. All right, 9 is going to be Okay, so for question 9, the ratio of Jupiter to Saturn's diameter is 1.2 to 1, so the diameter of Jupiter is 143. What is the diameter of Saturn? Well, it's just 143, comma, whatever, uh, divided by 1.2. You could put this into your calculator, or you could also just look at the answers and figure out that it would have to be C, because this is bigger, and this is way too small, and this is also way too small. This would be more like, I don't know, 1.8 to 1. So the correct answer is in choice C. Okay, question 10. Okay, so for question 10, which of the following is equation for line best fit? Well, we have a slope of 1, because for every increase in x, we have 1 increase in y. And then we also have a y-intercept of positive 2, so it would be x plus 2. So which is the same thing as the answer choice D, which is just 2 plus x. Question 11. Okay, so for question 11, we just have to find out what f of x is. So if x is 0, f of x is 13, so that means that we have y-intercept of positive 13. And then when x is 10, f of x is 9, so that means for the slope, when x increases by 10, y decreases by 4. So we just plug in for x here and see which one matches. So 10 here would be negative 40. So it can't be answer is A. 10 here would be negative 20. The slope here would be 5 times 10 is 50 over 2. That would just be way too big. And then for this one, 10 times 2 is 20 divided by 5 is negative 4, which is what we want to get. So the correct answer is choice D. Okay, question 12. Okay, so for question 12, um, well, for order of operations, we always work from left to right. So 2 minus x squared minus another x squared would just be 2 minus 2x squared. And then you would do that minus 2. So this would be 2 minus 2 is just 0, so we'll just be left with negative 2x squared, which is answer choice D. Question 13. Okay, so for question 13, we have a data set of 100 values. The lowest value is 30, the highest is 80 and 125. If 125 is removed, which statement is true? The means will be the same. Well, that can't be true, because if you remove 125, which is the largest value, well, then the mean would decrease. So the mean of the new data set will be less than the mean of the original data set. That is correct. So the answer is B. We can't really say anything about the medians. We still can't say anything about the medians. So the correct answer is choice B.
Pusha, there's a chat. Someone is asking who can you explain it? How you got that? Can you unmute yourself, Pusha?
Oh, sorry. So let's say we have a data. So let's just say we have a data set of like 5 values of like, I don't know, 30, like 40, 50, what is it? 80 and 125. So if let's just say a data set is like something like this. The mean of this data set would be adding all of these and then dividing by 5. But if we remove 125 from this data set, which just like the original data set, it's the largest value, well, then we would have to add up these 4 and divide by 4. So this would get us a lower mean than if we had all 5 values. Because the mean, it gets more skewed by even larger and even smaller values. So it gets skewed more by the extremes. And so because of that, um, well, I mean, I guess you could just put this into your calculator and add them up. But if you add up all of these numbers and divide by 5, you'd get a larger value than if you add up all of these numbers and all these 4 numbers and divide by 4. So it's the same principle, except if you had 100 values instead of 5, where the mean of the new data set would be less than the mean of the original data set. And then for C and D, where I said we can't say anything about the medians, well, the medians would be the middle number or when the data set is sorted. So in this case, it would be 50, but for this other one, we don't really know what that would be. It would be the value of 50, I guess. And then because we only decrease one, it would be between 2 different numbers. So we can't really say because we don't know. Because like it could also be like we have what 30 and then we have like 50, 50, 50, and like on the 125 or something. Like if we remove 125, the median would still be 50. So that's why we can't really say about the median because we don't actually know what the other numbers are. So all we know about is the mean, and if you remove the largest number, the mean would decrease. If you remove the smallest number, the mean would increase. Does that help? Maybe?
We are at 10:30, so we'll have to end this session. We'll continue with the next questions next time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you again on Sunday. Bye-bye, everybody.